Welcome to the 5th edition of the Hot Boxing Talk, South Africa's very own online boxing talk show. This week we're going to be speaking to the ever popular Kevin Lerena as well as Anton Gilmore, and of course having a weekly chat with sports journalist Hayden Jones and boxing journalist Cyril Lahong. Sit back, relax and enjoy the show. Well, before things get a little heated here at the Hot Box Gym, Hot Boxing Talk caught up with leading South African boxing trainer Anton Gilmore about his fight to Paul Kamanga, about his career, what he would do differently if he had it over, as well as his outreach program. Former outstanding professional boxer Anton Gilmore, and now an outstanding professional coach, and also working with an outreach program for children. Anton Gilmore, welcome to South Africa's very first online boxing show called the Hot Boxing Talk. I wanted to bring you in and I wanted to discuss your stable first and foremost. You've got about 18, 19 fighters on your books. And I wanted to know how's that going?
It's a lot of work, you know. First of all, congrats on the show. But yeah, it's a lot of work looking after big numbers of professionals and getting them all fights. Because of that, we've been looking around for a whole lot of promoters and trainers, other trainers that can come in and help us, and also promoters that can put all my boys on. So in that regard, I've actually asked a friend of mine, Gareth Masters, to step in and start his own promotion company, and also throwing my name into it, Gilmore Masters, just so that we can garner a bit of attention using my name and his, and just promote my guys and put more events on so that we can actually start to turn the soil in boxing. The
star of your stable has to be Paul Kamanga, who's doing exceptionally well. Youngster still doing very well, the WBA Pan-African Junior Welterweight Champion. What's next for him in your opinion?
Well look, Paul's been edging for a world title fight. There is talk of a world title fight in September on one of Jeff's tournaments. So we'll see. That's it, you know, he's going to have a little warm-up in a couple of weeks' time against Herbert and Kabiti on the 7th of August. And we'll see. It's an 8-rounder. It'll get us going. Herbert's experience, he's got 9 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. So, and he's a puncher, and all his 9 wins were by virtue of KO. So it's a nice test for Paul to step up to the welterweights and hopefully into the international.
Tell me about your outreach program, because I see a lot of it on social media and it's doing exceptionally well. Maybe you can just tell the fans what it's all about.
Okay, the program started in 2006 where we were rehabilitating child sex offenders, and we've rehabilitated 130 in the last 9 years. There's been no repeat offences at any police station of these kids, so it's a 98% success rate. And so each one of those offenders will offend 364 people in a lifetime. So stopping one of those guys is a big thing. It's 50,000 cases of abuse in the future not happening, and 40% of the kids that actually are abused will go on to abuse others. So it's a self-perpetuating problem. Now we've actually expanded the project to look at a preventative measure. So we take all kids of the inner city, train them for free for 6 days a week. We feed them 6 days a week, and we give them life skills. Then we also, once they've started to enter into a job opportunity age where it's like 18 or 19, we try to help them with industry development, and we try to place them with either sponsors or get them jobs.
I am going to throw a curveball this year, and I said to you I wouldn't. Anton Gilmore has his boxing career over from the beginning. What would you do differently?
My career over from the beginning. I think, you know, I was very serious about my career, but I think I could have been even more serious. I was very timid, as a quiet type of guy. I didn't go out there looking for sponsors. I did it on my own. And I think in retrospect, I would have put my head down a little bit more, which would have been a lot more training. But yeah, I think I would have just trained more and possibly taken the opportunity to go to Australia that was offered to me in 1995.
So there you have it, Anton Gilmore, top South African boxing trainer, doing exceptionally well with his outreach program here on the Hot Boxing Talk.
Hello, this is Harry Ramogwadi, ex-professional boxer, and you're watching the Hot Boxing Talk.
Hot Boxing Talk wouldn't be the same, of course, if we didn't have our weekly chat with sports journalist Hayden Jones, boxing journalist Cyril Lahong discussing Sergey Kovalev fighting Andre Ward, and of course social media in South African boxing. One of the super fights rumored to be happening towards the end of the year is Andre Ward, former undisputed super middleweight champion of the world, against undisputed light heavyweight champion of the world, Sergey Kovalev, with the exception of Stevenson. So I wanted to ask the two gentlemen their opinion on that fight. If it happens, who wins and why?
Andre Ward. I'm a big fan of Kovalev, but Andre Ward just edges it because of his boxing skills. He's got amazing skills. So yeah, Andre Ward.
Hayden.
Andre Ward any day. You know, Andre Ward's too clever for a guy. Kovalev, you know, he will never stop. He'll always come forward and he'll fight. But guys like Andre Ward are like once in a generation.
You don't think Kovalev's power will be too much and size might be too much for Andre Ward at that level?
No. I think we've seen if you can't land a punch on a guy, all the power in the world doesn't help.
Your opinion?
Mayweather Pacquiao.
Okay, then I wanted to discuss with you, how do we promote South African boxing? Social media has become such a big thing in our lives. You know, we're constantly on our phones on Facebook and Twitter and so forth, even when we're on dates or with our wives and so forth. But besides social media, how do you think we promote the sport in South African boxing?
I think visibility. Our boxers need to be more visible. Need to be basically, you need to know who's who in boxing. I think more talk with the media, more connections with media, televisions, radios. Boxing just needs to be punted a lot more than it is being punted at the moment.
Yeah, here's a curveball question for you, Hayden. You're a sports journalist, and your opinion in the next 10 years, do you think people will be able to go out and buy newspapers, or do you think social media is the way, online stuff on your phone, laptop, tablet, etc. is the way to go? Do you think you'll be able in 15 years' time to walk into a shop and buy a newspaper?
Well, I think it's common knowledge amongst journalists that print media is a dying medium, and eventually we are going to get newspapers, but in a different form, which is online media. And online media is the way to go. It's the way forward, and it's the only way of the future.
The KO kid, Kevin Lerena, paid the Hot Boxing Talk a visit to discuss his upcoming fight for the South African Cruiserweight Championship against Deon Coetzee. With me at Hot Boxing Talk is South African Cruiserweight contender Kevin Lerena, who is up next for Deon Coetzee, challenging for his championship, which is the South African Cruiserweight Championship over 12 rounds on the 30th of July at Empress Palace. Kevin, welcome to Hot Boxing Talk, the first online boxing show. I wanted to speak to you how your preparation's going and how do you see this fight panning out with you and Deon?
No, look, preparations are going very good. You know, we had a speed wobble in my preparations with Johnny Miller. I cut corners and you know, it showed in the fight. So it was a learning curve for me. So my preparation for this fight, I can say, has been the hardest effort I've put myself through. You know, it's the hardest training effort that it's probably the hardest that I could say Kevin Lerena has trained, because I'm hungry, you know. I got a lot of questions I got to answer for myself and for the public as well. So preparations are going well. And how do I see the fight? Look, Deon Coetzee, they say he's tough. I mean, I've sparred him. Toughness doesn't win you fights. And I learned that with Johnny. You know, I took a lot of punches and I showed I was tough, but it didn't win me the fight. And you know what, I'm going to be more skilled than him, and I'm going to be a lot smarter than him. And if he thinks he's going to be fitter than me, well, he's not going to be. And that's just the way I see the fight.
Your prediction for the fight?
You know what, they say it's tough, but I mean, I know, you know, I've got power, and when I know how to use it and when I use it well, I don't think he can sustain or take the power that I'm going to give him. But if a fight does happen to go the distance, if it's really that tough and he's showing a lot of heart, you know, then we go back to boxing. You know, you can't knock everybody out. And if he wants to be in there for 12 rounds, then it's going to be a very long 12 rounds for him.
Should you be successful in your fight with Deon, who would you like to fight next and why?
You know what, like I said, we take one step at a time. My promoter, Rodney Berman, he'll decide who I fight. But I think it's fitting that if I do beat Deon Coetzee, why not have, I know Johnny Miller beat Mustanak, I'm not sure of Johnny Miller's pans, but our fight was really close. It was a crowd, it was a humdinger of a fight, and all the respect to Johnny, he turned up that night, but I do think I deserve a second shot at Johnny Miller. I do think I can beat Johnny Miller. I mean, he's a great fighter, he showed that he's very tough, and he beat Mustanak, whether it's controversial or not, he beat Mustanak, and he's obviously got bigger things ahead of him, but fight Kevin Lerena, you know, local fights always live up to expectation, and and I think it will still be a good fight. Kevin Lerena, Johnny Miller too will be a very good fight.
Let's take Kevin Lerena out of boxing. You're a father now. Let's talk us about you being a father in your career and life.
No, I mean, the biggest blessing to me, you know, I mean, you're a father of two, and it just changed my world in terms of the way I looked at things, the way I conduct myself, the way I'd be, just the way I live life. And you know, it just gives you a sense of responsibility. It makes you a lot more hungrier. You know, you got a life now that you're born into this world that you've got to look after, and so it makes you a lot more focused on boxing as well as things out of boxing, like my business that I got going. And you know, so for me, it's changed my world and the biggest blessing.
A message for the people watching the Hot Boxing Talk.
You know, Hot Boxing Talk, I think this is a great platform, and for everybody who sees me fight, you know, I've said it in an article with my man Sebs, I bring balls, I put my balls on the line, and I'll fight whoever you put in front of me. Keep up the boxing, keep supporting, and thank you for all the support.
So there you have it, Kevin the KO Kid speaking to the Hot Boxing Talk here at the Hot Box Gym. We'll see you soon. So there you have it, the 5th edition comes to an end of the Hot Boxing Talk. For myself, Colin, Normaganjani, Nathan, and
Hayden Jones.
we'll see you again next week.